Yeah, yeah. Coming up on Mental Health Matters with Marty, join us for our bi-weekly show with Dr. Story and Dr. Sean on Finishing Well. Stay tuned. Listen, what's up, everybody? Yes, it's me. It's your host, Martina Sellers, your mental health hygienist, coming to you live and always in living color in Southern California, where the sun is always shining. I got on my yellow shirt, y'all, because today was about 85 degrees, global warning, and COVID is real. So listen, if you don't know, now you know. You better ask somebody. Listen, we are so glad that you are joining us. I get so excited about this show here every other Wednesday that we do the Daughters Dialogue with Dr. Margarita Story and Bishop Dr. Sean Stewart. Listen, these two great minds just blow my mind. I feel like the lesson of all of them in here, because they are so great in ministry and all that they do. We want to bring you real conversations in our community about how we can propel and move forward. As my Alexander the Great says on the Peloton, it's time for us to activate our greatness. That's what we're doing, activating our greatness in here. Listen, we want you to like, share, call people on, tell people to jump on this podcast and this live show, because we got a great show for you tonight. But let me remind you what this show is all about. The Mental Health Matters with Marty and the Daughters Dialogue with Dr. Story. We are a psychoeducational show. What does that mean? We want to bring you knowledge, and we want to help you out with your mental health, your spiritual health, your psychological, your financial health, your physical, mental well-being in that. In other words, we are not a substitute for you talking to your pastor. We are not a substitute for you seeing your therapist. We are not a substitute for you seeing your family doctor, but we are a supplement to help you in this journey. We want you to live your best life. Just like our theme song says, enjoy your life. That's how we want you to do that. However, if you're experiencing any type of psychological or medical emergency, please, we encourage you to go to your nearest urgent care, dial 911, do whatever it takes to get you healthy and well, because that's what it's all about. Now, how do you engage? Now, we all have our personal pages. I got my personal page up here because, yes, last night we had tons of comments on my personal page, but we would prefer for right now if you engage us on the Mental Health Matters with Marty Facebook page or on the Marcel Media Group on YouTube. However, if you do the other pages, we cannot guarantee we will see your comments, but here we can see them and post them and speak to it, because we want this to be a dialogue that we're having. So, what's the topic for tonight? I'm so glad you asked. The topic for tonight is finishing well. How do we finish well in 2021? Yes, Dr. Margarita Story is the brilliant mind behind this topic. I agree with her. We hope that you had an amazing Thanksgiving, but we want you to finish well. Today is December 1st, and we were also going to talk about today is World AIDS Day, and we don't want to leave that out and talk about that, how it's affecting our communities. So, Daryl, can you kick the video with Dr. Story before we bring her on the stage?
Hey there, beloved. It is your girl, the Reverend Dr. Margarita Story, and I am so delighted to share with you my new podcast called A Daughter's Dialogue, the Cinderella Syndrome. This podcast is for women of all ages and stages who desire to take an introspective look at their lives, to challenge and to confront some of our beliefs and behaviors that just may be hindering and hampering us from showing up in this world that has been waiting for us. Initially, we're going to utilize the story of Cinderella as our source of sharing. And I believe that the situations and scenarios faced by Cinderella are similar to those we face today. Subscribe, share, and tune in to A Daughter's Dialogue, the Cinderella Syndrome.
I love it. I love it. Every time I see it, I get more excited. So let's welcome back to her own show, really. I'm just the temporary host because starting in January, she's doing this herself, and I'm going to be a guest on her show. So we want to bring back, as always, none other than the beautiful, the incomparable, the immaculate, come on, other than Dr. Margarita Story. How you doing, baby?
I am doing so well, Marty. I love and appreciate you. I love being on here because we get to dance in the background and
Yes.
have a dance party, but it is always such a profound privilege to be with you.
Yes.
I tell you and our Mac in the back, I so appreciate you guys being that source of support and encouragement to
Yes.
me in this season. And I thank God for the work that you are doing. Mental health with Marty has challenged and encouraged and inspired us to begin to talk about some things and begin to look and reflect on some things and talk
Yes.
about those things that are challenging us. And so I say bravo to you and keep on doing the great things that you're doing. I
Well,
appreciate
thank
you and
you.
I'm so grateful. I thank God for Bishop as well. I know we're going to be bringing him
Yes.
in just a minute, but I so love and appreciate him. I thank God that you ensured that our journeys collided. God utilized you as that
Mm.
conduit. That ensured that I was able to meet this great man of God, and I am so
Yes.
profoundly privileged to be in his presence at all times. But we're talking tonight about finishing well. And Marty,
Yes.
God does something ridiculous between the two of us
Mm-hmm.
at times. And as we were talking, God had given you something for an arena that you're
Mm-hmm.
in and had began to formulate this for me for my noonday. And God was saying
Yes.
that we've got to finish well. God
That's
was
right.
reminding me that one of the things we find ourselves in a paradoxical position because of
Mm-hmm.
this pandemic, that the things that we were going to do in 2020, we did not do.
Yes.
And the things
Yes.
we thought
Yes.
we could have caught up on in 2021 were even
Yes.
delayed. And so there are some who have procrastinated, some that have put
Yes.
off, and others who have just thrown in the towel. And
Mm-hmm.
God is declaring and decreeing
Come
that
on.
right now we've got to finish well. God is saying, you're still here. You might be
Yes.
scarred, you might be marred, you might be
Yes.
different, you might be
Yes.
a little heavier, you may have
That's all
more
right.
responsibilities, but God is saying, finish well. And he is reminding us in this
Mm.
season, I've given
Yes.
you what is necessary for you
Come
to
on and talk to
continue
us.
on and make it through. So finish well. So even when we look at the Cinderella syndrome and we
Yes.
look at the story
Yes.
of Cinderella, Cinderella had to make a distinct decision that
Yes. A
I'm going
choice.
to finish.
Yes.
She had to make a choice, baby.
Yes,
I'm
she
going to
did.
finish well. I've lost my mom. I've lost my dad. I'm with some people
Yes.
who do not value me, but I am going to finish well. I
Finish
got some
well.
people that are competing with me. I got some people
Mm-hmm.
who are comparing themselves to me, but I'm
Right.
choosing to finish well. And God is talking to us in this season and saying we got to finish well. But Marty, I also
Yes.
understand that there are roadblocks and hindrances that can keep
Mm.
us from finishing well. So I want to talk
Yes.
about those things on this evening. But
I
I
love it.
believe that when we share our story, we find out that your story is my story and
That's
your
right.
truth becomes my healing.
Yes. And that's so important because
Mhm.
too often I think we look at too many, one, like you said, outside circumstances to determine our outcome of tomorrow. And we
Yes.
can no longer allow situations that we don't
Mhm.
have any control over, maybe, and even those that we do, to keep us from finishing well. You may have
Absolutely.
maybe you didn't do it in your 20s, but you're in your 30s, you have another opportunity. Maybe you didn't do it in your 30s, but you're in your 40s, you have another opportunity. Maybe you didn't even do it in your 40s and you are in your 50s, you have another opportunity. Maybe even in the 50s, you squandered that, but you're in your 60s, you still got another opportunity. And maybe you are living in your 70s and think that your life is over, but you still have another opportunity. And if God so graciously allows you to live into your 80s and 90s, you still have yet another opportunity to finish well, because the race is not given to the swift or to the strong, but to the one that endures. Come on, I'm talking now, to the end. Yes, yes, God.
Yes, yes, that's so good. But I wanted to take an opportunity to define the word well, because
Hmm.
finish means to come to an end. That we
Right, right,
understand that
right.
to allow something to come to its conclusion. But the
Yes, yes,
word
yes.
well, Marty, the word well means skillful.
Mm.
It means competently.
Come on. Yes, yes,
It
yes.
means in excellence. It means effectively.
Yes.
It means thoroughly. It means efficiently. It
Yes, ma'am.
means conscientiously. It
Yes,
means
ma'am.
attentively. And so
Yes,
all
ma'am.
God is saying, just keep on going and attentively finish. He says,
Yes.
excellently finish, effectively
Yes.
finish, because just as you suggested, the race is not given to the swift nor to the strong, but it is given to the one that endures forever, until the end. Marty, this
Yes.
reminds me of one of the marathon runners when the Olympics were
Was.
in Mexico. It was in
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mexico, and what had occurred was one of the African runners in
Mm-hmm.
this marathon had tripped over his own feet,
Feet.
fell
Yes, yes,
down,
yes.
bruised himself, got
Yes,
run
yes.
over and trampled by
Yes.
others. His head was bleeding, and the runners kept on running inside the Olympic arena. Nearly an hour later, the runners
Yes.
began to come in. They have the ceremony where they
Right,
give
right.
out the awards
A-
for
Uh-huh.
the first, the second, and the third
And the
place
third.
marathon winners. And everyone was clapping and celebrating those that were there. Other runners came in much after the ceremony because they
Mm-hmm.
kept on running their race,
Mm-hmm.
and it got to the place where there were other other competitions that were going on, and the
Yes, yes,
announcer said, "We're going to stop because the last marathon runner is coming through the arena." Now, they've already given out the awards. They've
yes,
already
yes,
determined who the winner was going to be. They've already ensured
yes,
that everybody they thought was competing had
yes.
already come through. But there was one runner,
One
and
more.
there was an announcer. There was an announcer that came and said, "Why didn't you give up? You've harmed yourself. You're
Right,
bleeding. You can
right.
tell that you're hurting." And he said, "Why did you keep on running?" He said, "My country did not fly me
All
5,000
the way.
miles
Yes.
away for me to
For me
start
to
the
quit.
race. Baby, they didn't do that. They wanted me to finish, and
Finish.
because I am a finisher, he said, I
Yes.
could not let the other runners and their pace stop me. I had to keep on going, and I'm telling that long doggone story because I need somebody to know that there are times where it
Yes.
feels like you're getting run over by other people, where it
Come on.
feels like you've tripped over your own feet, where you've fallen, and it just being in the race has made sure that you've gotten beat up and battered and bruised.
Yes.
But we've got to be like that African runner, and we got to keep on going
Keep pressing.
because God did not put that anointing in your life. God did not put that call in your
That's
life.
right.
God did not put that purpose in your life for
Yes.
you to start something, baby. God called you to be a finisher. And while
Yes,
I'm
he
talking
did.
about finishing, come here, Jesus.
Come
Jesus said,
on.
Rita, I couldn't give up when they were taking me from judgment hall to judgment
The
hall.
judgment.
I
Come
would
on.
not give up even when I had to walk up the Via della Rosa carrying a
Yes.
doggone cross. He said, I would not give up even when they nailed me to the cross, pierced me in the side, and put a crown of thorns on my head. I would not even give
Come
up when
on.
I declared that it was finished. He said, I went down to hell and snatched the keys from death,
Yes,
hell, and
sir.
the grave and came up with all power in my hand because I am a finisher. Y'all, I felt like doing that, and that's done. Where's Sean at?
Yes.
Because
Wait
I
a
know he's
minute.
taking notes. I know Sean taking notes. I know
Woo.
Sean taking notes, and I
Come
know
on. Welcome.
he done said
Bring
something.
on up Bishop Sean Stewart. My God, my God, my God. Bishop, she ain't nothing left. Yes, sir. Bishop, we're gonna tag team.
And
Tag,
so,
you're it. I'm taking her out the arena now.
and so there, when we finish this meeting, we will need to have a conversation about the schematic of this thing. I don't understand why I'm on here, to be very honest. I don't. What am I supposed to? I can't even do the altar call behind that. The Villa del Rosa. The only thing I was waiting on was for her to scream. They had to bring forth the diadem and crown. I was waiting on that.
Right. And crown him, Lord of.
Crown. I was waiting on that part, but no, we didn't want to do that, so that's fine. I want to piggyback,
Yes,
and,
yes, sir.
and I want to speak to a couple of things that she touched, and I want to kind of touch it just a little bit. I want to welcome everyone to their season of acceleration and transition.
Come on.
We
That's good.
have finished the 11th month of the year. We have arrived to the 12th month. But you know you were in the month of no? Prior. The month of no, we don't do well being told no, but we do well living.
In no.
We don't do well being told no, but we do well living in no. Now, watch this. Bring your negative constructed self over here and let's talk for a minute.
Yes, sir.
Always assume being told no is a rejection. It is a rejection in the negative connotation if your intention is wrong. But we start talking about that in the month of November. Out of 12 months, you mean to tell me God only found 1 month to tell me no? So I'm pointing to something. In November, we started off with NO, right? What we didn't think into, what do we say no to? No more depression, no more suicidal ideation, no more sex with people who don't love me, no more love with money. to lose. No more being involved in toxic relationships that have nothing to do with my benefit. No more giving myself to people who have not earned to be even
That's
in
right.
the same.
That's right.
To breathe the same air I'm breathing. No more giving space to toxic people.
That's right.
No more liking posts from people who say they post beautiful things, but they're still toxic. How are you going to post a prophetic statement and you're still toxic in the next verse? So I'm here to say that we have now completed the month of no. My God. The month of DE. And so now, as an English teacher, I ain't got it like score, but I'm gonna give you my point. We have arrived to the 12th month, and I want to walk us back to, if you will, a first grade skill. In first grade, we teach students how to deconstruct a word, if you will. And so when we teach students to deconstruct the word, we teach something called prefix, root word, suffix. Y'all heard those things.
Prefix
at the beginning. Root word is in the root word. Suffix at the end, right?
At the end, yes. Talk to us.
Latin, you're talking about the conjugation of verbs, changing the tense of things, per se.
Right.
But I just want to give this fundamental lesson about, we came out of the season of no.
No.
Now we're in the season of D. And so the season of D means you have the right to declare your outcome if you open your mouth. You have the authority to declare your outcome if you close your eyes and see your future. And so let me put this in for you. So here it is. Let's look at the month of December. Okay, let's look at that. DE is prefix. Prefix deals with predictions. When was the last time you predicted your future from the place God saw it, not the seat you were sitting in? December is the root of the process, which means that you're dealing with the process. So you have to predict how your process is going to happen, right? Because the root cause of most people's situation is you start off well, but you die in the process, so you abort your outcome before you ever get started. And most times we miss the blessing of the miracle because we the burden of the process, right?
Yes.
So you have a prefix predicts, you have a process with the root word. Now watch this. Your ending is the suffix. How you change the tense of a word tells me how you come out of a word. We said that we were going to finish strong.
And finish well. Yes, sir.
Finishing well, right? ING
yes.
suggests you continue the process. I would like to suggest that you are finishing means that you're still in the process of stopping.
That's right. It's a continuing process.
It is. But I would like to say you have finished the season of no. You have started the process of declaration. You have the power to persist, predict, define your process, and declare your outcome without ever exposing your vulnerability to anybody that could hurt you. Finishing well is a mindset that must be in at all times. So I want to do this is for free. Letting go is hard. Assuming you understand the pain is worse.
Say that one more time for the folks in the back row.
Letting go is hard because you assume if you let go. Well, let me come back at you another way. Keeping the addictions you know and the pain that you know and the devil that hurt you in place is easier because you assume you can manage the pain as it comes. What you're not talking about is that regardless of the face or the hand, at the end is still pain. So I'm going to suggest that letting go is hard because you're letting go of your comfort. But assuming you understand the pain is worse. Keeping the pain makes it worse because then it does something. I'm a cancer survivor. Catch this. When you keep the pain, you emotionally metastasize the pain throughout your body. So then you spread the toxicity of what you're trying to mask and what you're trying to hide. And then watch this. Anybody that's attached to you, because according to the Old Testament, they say when the oil roll off the bed, it blessed everybody, right? This the other side. When the sin and the pain rolls off, it attaches to the people to you. So then you're teaching your children how to live in abused relationships. You're teaching your children how to. So then we have got to learn. Bishop. Grow is hard, but staying in the place you in is toxic. And the one thing I'm tired of doing is performing spiritual autopsies in church when they are emotional murders.
But we have a problem. Here's the problem.
Story, don't look at me like that. Don't even come at me like that, Story. Don't even
Right. I tell you, listen. Y'all go so deep. I can only take one line at a time. But here's my challenge to even that, because I'm in 1,000% agreement with you. When I have people that sit on my couch, and we start to turn this corner because we know the pain. We no longer know how to live without it. So when we start feeling, yes,
the pain
yes, it is, because we like what the pain brings us. Even if it's because we're in so much pain, we no longer even recognize, can I say it this way, positive attention from negative attention, and we cling to the negative attention because that brings us more attention. Therefore, we begin to self-sabotage the victory. We begin to self-sabotage the pain-free life because all we know is the painful life in that. And that's why I challenge people all the time.
So then one of the things I think that we have to point out too in that conversation, Marty, is that most people don't realize that continuing in the process that they're in is what's killing them.
Yes. Yes.
It is not that the person, you knew the person was toxic before you started dating, and you thought that you could love on them long enough and you could sexually bribe them and emotionally buy them trinkets and toys, and that would change the behavior. I'm a firm believer that behavior doesn't change based off the purchase of gifts. Behavior changes when a person makes an intentional choice to do the work.
But were you healthy during that time that you hooked up with them? Because hurting people attract other hurting people, and we hurt each other, because I'm seeing through the lenses of hurt and not the corrective lenses of healing and healthiness. And then when we get healthy, you look at, I must have been sick, because there's no way in hell that person should have been this close to me.
In the first place.
Right. Because I must have been out of my mind, because I was in a right mind. There's no way I would even let them in my let them in the crowd, let alone in my inner circle.
But I also believe, I want to put this out there for free, as Bishop would say. There are some of us that when we're not being victimized, we become our own victimizers.
Yes.
Why is she even on my screen? What is that?
Because it's cyclical. It's cyclical. Because can we go here? It models the pattern of domestic violence. Because it models that pattern. They say the average person in a domestic violence relationship will stay in that situation for 7 to 10 times longer than they should have, because they don't have the psychological fortitude or capacity to take themselves out, because they have been brainwashed by the perpetrator of that. We have now been brainwashed by the perpetration of the situation that we can no longer see out of it because of our pain.
Well, I want to go
right, further. But I'm gonna go after you, Bishop. You go on.
The one thing we're not talking about in this very conversation is, I think somewhere in that book that God unleashed, it says that we ought to train up a child in the way that he or she should go. Somewhere it read that. Now they may rip that
it's in there.
It's in Proverbs somewhere in there. So I believe,
What we talk about, though, is in the same construct of teaching our children holiness and righteousness, we also condition our children to live in dysfunction. So we teach them how to live in dysfunction. We teach them how to live in abusive relationships. So then when your child does get into an abusive relationship, you want to go drive them out of it, and you're trying to figure out where they got it from when they learned it at home, and you didn't just teach
learned them. Behaviors.
You broke them in. You didn't just teach them, you broke them in. So then not only are we stuck fixing a behavior, now we're also repairing a brokenness. And my nephew Ian Haddock says it well. You can't build solid on broken and expect it to sustain itself.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay. Go ahead, Dr. Story. You were going to say.
One of the things I was going to say is, as I've been doing counseling, pastoral counseling, what I am finding is, because individuals find themselves in positions and places where they feel like they've been ignored, then being a victim gets them the attention that they desire. And so it's biblical as well. Come here, Hannah. Hannah got a problem with Penina. She ends up going in the church. They can't figure out what she's saying, so they're trying to diagnose her because she's in the house of God, and all of the attention is on her. And so now we're trying to figure out why we got to pay attention to you. And so we misdiagnose you as being drunk, when the mere issue is, I need the attention on me. Now that I got it, man of God, I'm not drunk as you was supposed. I'm a woman that's grieving. Well, why your grieving tale gotta have the whole worship service shift to have the attention on you? And it is because I have not gotten what I wanted to get from my husband. I could not get the attention I wanted from Penina, and God won't make my uterus work like I want him to.
See, exactly.
You come to the house, you come to the place that God put his wife and build destruction within her.
Right.
But that's why we have to get past the emotions.
Right.
To get to the root of the problem. One of the questions I asked, I was talking to one of my clients just yesterday. I said, where did you learn love, and who taught you love in your family? Who taught you how to be a mother? Who taught you? And it boiled down to that both her parents had let her down because her stepfather was molesting her, and her mother knew about it. And her father, who now started another family, said he couldn't disrupt his family in order to protect her. So she's crying out for attention. Come on. And these are church-going folk now. Don't play with me. Because he didn't want to ruin his new family to protect the daughter. So she says, well, who was supposed to protect me? And I said, you're repeating the same cycle because you don't know positive attention. So you have to stop it. And you have to tell that 10-year-old girl that you're going to be all right, and you have to love on her.
Oh, so you said the 40-year-old got to tell the 10-year-old girl that she okay within herself. Is that what you're saying?
Within herself. Right. That's exactly. So I told the 25-year-old girl to tell. Notice I didn't say woman, because emotionally she's still a girl. So, yes, I had to tell the 25-year-old physical woman but emotional girl to reach back and talk to the 10-year-old girl and walk her hand and hold her hand and walk her through back to 25, so that we can now begin to heal and mend herself along the way, because she can no longer depend on mama and daddy because they both failed her.
Right. Let me add something to what you're saying as well, Marty, because one of the things is, and I tell women this all the time, if the 10-year-old can get you here, because see, that 25-year-old, the 10-year-old did her job. She was strong enough and kept on going. She was resilient enough. And now I done passed the baton to you. You 25, and I expect you to keep on going, because if I can keep going at 10, if I can keep going, and both of our parents
finish well, baby. Finish well.
You finish, because
I'm passing the baton.
I'm passing the baton on to you, and I was 10. And I took the abuse. I was 10. Now I expect you at 25 to take it the rest of the way. You ain't gonna tell me. I made sure that we didn't crack up and go crazy. And I done got us all the way to 25. And you sit up here trying to act like it ain't in you. It's been in us. It's been here.
So now I challenge the behaviors.
Finishing is you beat me. It is to the behavior.
That's
everything you need to be successful is not in your behavior. It is in your character, your ability to be resistant. And watch this. You can't say you didn't know, because your previous self trained you up to be your current self, so you can sustain in the midst of the stickiest situations of your life. So then you have to make the decision to live. And I have to
Yes.
inform your sisters that you will live and not
Not
die.
die.
That's right.
Come on.
That's
will
right.
not
That's
die
right.
like this. You will not
That's
die
right.
like you will be called up to the other side, but you will not be called to the other side carrying this. You can't
So-
leave here till you finish this.
So now
Yes.
we speak to the resiliency and the survival skills that she's had. Now, well, everyone says I'm a troublemaker. As I said, well, let's talk to that. Why were you a troublemaker? Well, no one heard you. I hear you. So now how are you going to change that? So why did you have a negative attitude? Well, no one listened to me. I'm listening to me. So now how are you going to change that? Because you can no longer use that excuse in order to walk into your future. Now we have to attack every maladaptive behavior and change it and put a positive one in that so that we're not continuing to repeat the process. Now, is this going to happen overnight? No, because that's my job to challenge you. And that's our job to then say, listen, you're not 10, you're 25. Baby, that's a 10-year-old behavior. Come on, walk us up to 25.
We need to define maladaptive. I want to go back to that definition because what I'm learning is that everyone who speaks English do not carry the same definition to the same word they hear. So I really want to unpack maladaptive for a reason. I want you to specifically say maladaptive is this, and for example, so they can actually see it because I get it. But I want to be sure that our listeners have that fundamentally in their mind because what I'm getting ready to point us to is going to be horrible. But because you're right. But I want to define maladaptive. Listen, there is always if you don't have a strategy, you have no vision, you shouldn't be leading people. So we have to unpack, and good teachers always give definitions to words because you cannot build the skill or the strategy if we're all using the same word but working from different definitions. We've got to define what is maladaptive from the term you're using. And what is an example of it?
Yes. So what I'm talking about, maladaptive, is the opposite of something that is adaptable, something that is acceptable. We're talking about a negative behavior. We're talking about a wrong behavior choice. We're talking about behaviors that's going to that attracts negativity, that's attracting negative energy. That when you're making, okay,
Dr. Story, David, walk us through that. With what he just said, David, walk us through that. Come on.
Don't even do me like that, because you know I'm gonna start preaching, and I'm not doing that with you because not only David, but Solomon, not only there's a whole lot of them with maladaptive behaviors.
Yes.
Paul, doggone it. But I love that. But the writer of Hebrews says this to us in the 12th chapter, around the first verse, the B portion of it. He says this. He says, "Let us lay aside every weight and sin which so easily beset us, and then let us run with patience the race that has been set before us." And so even the writer of Hebrews is saying, because Bishop, you mentioned this early on, babe. I think we was on for 1 minute in the show. Some stuff you gotta let go. We're not going to finish well. And so that maladaptive behavior, it is not that we don't understand that it is not producing what is necessary, but because we've been feeding into the fact that now somebody's watching me and listening to me, and I've got someone's attention, but it is not producing the freedom to get to the place and the promise that God has for us. But it does give us pause for the moment. And so then the writer of Hebrews says this. He said, you got a great cloud of witnesses. Number one, he's trying to tell us this. Don't act like you the first one to ever have to go through anything. I'm not denying that it's painful. I'm not denying that it was cruel. I'm not negating your experience consequences of the horrors that have been there. But I am telling you this, if you're going to finish the race that was set for you, you're going to have to let some stuff go. You're going to have to choose it for yourself. You're going to have to say, this wouldn't, never mind. This handbag don't belong to this outfit. I'm not taking this into the next season.
Put on the right shoes.
And he said, but it just don't go with where I'm going. And we got, just like you said, Marty, today it was 80 something degrees. Boo, you'd have had that yellow shirt on and baby, you would have frozen to death. Sugar, here on the East Coast, because what you got on may be okay for where you are, but not where I am. Y'all not gonna say that. And where I am, that's right. I gotta have what I need, and I gotta adapt to the circumstance I'm in. The other thing that we've got to understand as well, Bishop, is that the enemy only can use our past because he does not have control over our present or our future, and so he has to utilize what you remember. He has to utilize what they said. He has to utilize your memory and your mind in order to manipulate you, to keep you from being able to do what God has called you to do. And so one of the things that God has done for us, he's saying that I'm not taking away the fact that it happened to you. I'm setting you free from the bondage of it. And our real issue is that we would rather be bound than open up and receive the blessings of God. Because if I let it go, who am I going to be, Bishop? If I let it go,
we don't know.
Am I going to identify? I don't know this freedom that you're talking about, but I know bondage.
Yes.
And so because I know bondage.
Yes. I'm saying, and what the enemy does, what I call that, when he keeps pushing the recall button of our past, it then leads to depression, because depression is not letting go of those things of the past. So he's trying to throw you in a state of depression and leave you there so that you isolate, you don't get up, and you stay in the bed. You can't move forward if you stay still.
And when we look at this, the one thing that we struggle with, and we assume that this thing is only used in this one place. And so a lot of times, the one thing I love about my Baptist training is that at the benediction, the Reverend would say, this is now the part of the worship where we all get to tell God, thank you, and be blessed to go do the work he has built for us. The problem is that the first word in the benediction messes up everybody. They skip over that word in Jude 1:24, and they go all the way to the end.
Now.
Because the laying aside the weight and sin happens as soon as you decide to let it go. How do you know you decided to let it go? When you can give the benediction. How do you know what the benediction says about the time? Most people want to let it go in time. God has said he's letting it go in this very season. So he says, now and the sweet communion of the Holy Spirit. Now, watch what it does. When you get in the season, you put the person who controls it in place. Then you release it. Then he says, now make the grace go. And the sweet communion, watch what it do. Let it rest. What does your body need?
Rest.
Let it rule. Let it manage the things that you can see and not see. Let it rest and abide. Live within you at all times. Watch this for the time frame. Those of you who need the time. Henceforth and forevermore. And so he releases you in time and in season.
Yes, I love it. But can we talk about that abide? And we're talking about when abide in it, it means to be saturated in it. It's not a drop of it. It means to be so covered in it. Right. Till it just drips off of your very eyebrows. Listen, the grace of God dripping off of me. I walk in the grace just drips. Not does it just drip on me, it drips on you. It drips on others. They're blessed because I'm blessed. Come on. So now we're doing the very opposite. Instead of teaching our children the maladaptive behaviors, listen, I'm blessing. We're now blessing them and teaching them the rest, the rule, and the abiding of the Holy Spirit in everything that they do. Come on now, so I'm talking.
Remember what we were talking about. So remember what I started us off with. We got to define what maladaptive is. And you did exactly what I wanted. We shifted what the definition was by showing them that the choice to live in the maladaptive is theirs.
Right.
But as easy as it is to live in the maladaptive, it is as easy to make the decision to not live in that anymore. And I want to point to that on either side, the decision
is yours. You have the choice to finish well.
Yes.
And how you do it is yours. And I think that one of the things we got to get to, finishing strong requires consistency to yourself.
Yes.
Consistency to yourself. The reason diets fail, financial planning fails, you being able to maintain a relationship fails is because you don't stick to the
lack of consistency.
And you negotiate your outcome based off your temporary feelings. So you make a permanent deal off of a temporary feeling, and then you're stuck paying the price for generations. There are people in generations still paying for things from other people's past mistakes. That should not be the case in 2021. Well, I say that, but we also should say racism shouldn't be the case, or bigotry, poverty, or being able to go to school without having to worry about childcare. So I mean, in 20, I say that we shouldn't be talking about that. It shouldn't be an issue, but hey, I could be wrong.
I hear you. And I said, successful people are intentional people. And if we're going to have to finish well, we have to be, like you said earlier, intentional about how we finish, intentional about the choices, intentional about getting up, intentional about the walk. Listen, I don't always feel like going to work, but if I'm going to pay my bills, I have to be intentional on getting up. Just like we, And so therefore, we have to be intentional about being well, even when we don't feel well, because our feelings will change. Come on.
Listen.
So we can't determine the finishing based upon our feelings.
Yes.
Because it goes back to what. Yes. They're temporary.
They're temporary. And your feelings will sabotage you if you're not careful.
That's right.
That's right.
If you're not careful. You will make, and I told this to a teacher today. I was doing a walkthrough, and she had a great lesson, Marty. She did the work. She internalized the lesson. She was ready to teach. She was ready. And she took a look on somebody else's face, made a quick decision, and it cost her in the long run when she should have stuck with the script at hand, because what you had in hand, you knew it worked. I'm saying that for a reason. Never make a decision based on what you see, feel, hear, touch, and taste.
That's right.
If they require your decision, everybody can wait. Even if it's their emergency, they can wait long enough for you to make the decision. And as much as I hate to say this, sometimes you have to make the decision that's best for you, and sometimes that's rejecting the request for the ones who ask you when you know you love them.
And we have to stop interpreting that as being selfish. See, that's the problem. We want to say, "Oh, you're just being selfish." No,
you're the one selfish because you want me to do what's not best for me.
Exactly. And so I'm doing what's going to be best for me in this situation so that I can help you from a better perspective and viewpoint, because you don't have the mental capacity to be able to make the right decisions. So I cannot allow your indecisiveness and your inability to affect my decision of doing, can I say it like this, doing the right thing.
Yeah, and finishing well. One of the illustrations I was using was running, and I want to go back to that because even in Hebrews they were saying that we've got to run the race. And one of the things, whenever you're running in a race or you're a runner of a race, it requires fitness, it requires focus, and it requires the management of fatigue. And one of the things about those that are believers is we don't want to be fit, we don't want to be focused, and we do not want to manage our fatigue. Baby, that is a natural part of life, that you're going to be fatigued. But how you manage your fatigue is going to impact whether or not you finish well. How you maintain your focus while you're fatigued, because you're going to be fatigued, but you gotta stay focused. And how we manage our focus while managing our fatigue is going to impact how we finish well and whether we're fit. And many of us spiritually are not fit, emotionally are not fit. And then we get in races, Bishop, and we want to win a race off of a Shondo, Rondo, and a Hondo. And we understand that we are not fit. We're not fit. The Bible says that if you put your hand to the plow and you turn back, boo, you not fit for what you've been called to. The Bible says that if you were not called to be a priest, don't put your hand on the ark. Come here, Eli boys. Baby, they sit up there trying to manage God. Put their hands on it, and one of them ended up dying from it. Because when you're not fit for something, when you're not fit for it, you're not supposed to be in that race. But there is a fitness that comes along with it. The other part that I do want to say is that we're in an army. And this is the only army that'll quit on you while on active duty. We'll quit on active duty. Listen, okay, he taking notes again.
Right.
But we've got to also get to the point where we begin to not only be intentional, but we've got to take responsibility for the fact that God has put a baton in our hands, and we got to keep on till the thing is over. We got to stop letting what somebody done said, how we feel, what happened to us in our third grade, whether or not we lost our job, whether or not somebody died. We've got to stop allowing those things to derail, whether them phones keep ringing, social media, whether somebody liking your posts or not, whether or not somebody trying to act like they don't want to talk to you. Baby, I start singing one of them old Baptist hymns in a minute. You ain't calling me. You going to block me from your Facebook page. Quietness, blessed quietness. What an assurance in my soul. On the
they don't know that song no more.
Baby,
on the story. Jesus speaks to me.
Yeah, you ain't got to talk to me. I got the Lord talking to me. Cease to roll.
Cease to roll. See, you don't know nothing about that.
That's when you had Sister Irene Rose playing an upright, and the gas and the foot pedal was the drum. You understand?
That's the truth, baby.
And she woke up as the Reverend found his key. Yeah, that's right. But you know what is interesting about that? We think that by, and I'm gonna say this, pastors, preachers, gospel leaders, we have a responsibility to tell the truth, even when it hurts.
Yes.
We are obligated. We want folk to finish well. We must do our work too. Let me point to something. You cannot be a pastor. Every pastor, and I'm going to get out there and say this, as a bishop, I mean this with all my heart. I believe this even before I was consecrated. Every pastor must have a pastor.
Yes.
And in that concept, pastors, the same level of accountability and consequence you issue to your members, you should be prepared to receive from your covering.
Yes.
Hear me good. If you are unfit to be pastored, you're unfit to be held accountable. You have a feeling that tells you don't have to be told nothing. You can be a member of the church. Just go sit over there in that chair next to the altar and beat me there until your change comes. Because one of the things that we have to do as watchmen on the wall is I got to make sure that the door frame seals when it closes.
Right.
Because
that's good. That's good.
Watch this. I can't have some things in my house, and there's some things I can't have in my heart. You can know both of them, but you can't have access to them. In finishing strong, the one thing I want to encourage everybody to do is to get rid of the things that you know are emotionally and silently weighing you down, that the only way you identify is when you get to bed and you finally can release the tears of the day in a dark room and nobody see them. Those things that cause, that's how you finish strong. Get rid of that. You want to figure out how to finish strong? Number 2, release yourself from the expectations of those that do not invest in you. from every aspect. Release yourself from that. And number 3, watch this. Be okay that you're not okay, and get somebody in your life that you can go tell you're not okay, and they're gonna come check in on you. Because sometimes you're not okay is that you need to be able to say it, and then you need to have somebody every now and again that would just, hey, I'm checking on you.
That's right. That's right.
And as much if you left it to me, Rita, I would still have the BlackBerry. You know, the one with the glass where you slid it up.
Yeah.
That one. Because that's me. I would have that. But the one thing I've learned about, my brother Keith McQueen, he said this well, and I believe in it. He says iPhones are apostolic. He's right. They are. They will reveal the truth. FaceTime apostolic. They are apostolic. But the one thing FaceTime will do. Listen, I got to tell you, I got Bishop Keith McQueen, Powerhouse Church, Indianapolis and Chicago. I got that from him. After he said Apple phones are apostolic, and I don't argue with him, but he's right about it. Because what apostolic is, when you get on that FaceTime, I can hide how I feel over the phone in my voice.
Yes.
I cannot hide when you see my face on
That's
the phone.
right.
And my face will tell you what my voice has not, because I've learned to train my voice to project what I needed to do when I needed to do it. But I have not trained my lie when I don't know how to hide the hearts and the pains that I carry. So you always need to have somebody that will check in on you, and they will serve tow truck. They will lift you up when you can't move yourself and carry you from the point of trouble to the place of safety so you can recover. You need to have those things in your life. You want to finish strong? Start there. That's just my little outcome on finishing strong. You got to finish strong because your life really does depend on it.
Yes.
I can't believe we are past the hour at this point, but my God.
That's because you don't mean to talk too much. This Bible buddy had nothing to say. You need every 2 hands over there. I need a meeting. After this, I need an immediate meeting with management. Good thing I was raised Baptist and went to the Church of God in Christ at Baptist. I wouldn't know how to fit in with this. I thank God I'm still saved and sanctified. Because y'all were
filled with the precious Holy Ghost.
Yeah, listen, that thing in Philadelphia done preached the world down, and then go talk about bring Sean. No, leave me where I am.
You know what? I love y'all too.
I get my notes to preach on Sunday because I be counting on these. Listen, I get my 2 weeks of sermons right here. I be good.
I can't. Oh my God, y'all have lifted my spirit so much, and I am so encouraged to finish well in this season. Since Bishop has given his, y'all done took us to church this here night. Listen, Brother LaDon, I know you're right. I know you're right.
The moderator in Philadelphia got on here. The moderator.
The moderator.
The moderator got on here.
There's no moderator here.
Yeah, you done took us to the convention. We done had our own convention tonight. Convention, yes.
Those noonday luncheon sermon came through here.
I love
Bishop,
you guys.
We love you so much. Thank you from Houston, Dr. Story.
Yes.
Any words of finishing well? Listen, Sister Darlene, I'm encouraged as well too. Yes. You love you three. Sister Janice, I love these two as well. They can't get rid of me. And even if they tried, I'm just gonna show up. I need a key to y'all houses and access to your bank accounts.
Listen, I keep telling you, call me when you taxiing off the runway headed this way. Don't call me till you get on the plane and you taxiing off. If you turn the light off and they say prepare for takeoff, that's when you call me and tell me you on the way.
Right.
Don't call me beforehand. I ain't gonna believe you coming. Call me when you say you taxi. I'll be at the airport to pick you up.
Sister Tanya, so good to see you. Thank you for always joining us. Dr. Story, how do you want to conclude us tonight? Because you're going to close us out.
Well, I just wanted to thank the both of you guys for coming on. Your insight and intellect, and even the way you guys have so profoundly made it personal for each of
Mm,
us that we can finish well. Because sometimes it is the knowing that I still can
mm,
do it. That is it. That I can leave here knowing that there's still potential and possibility for
mm.
me. And so
Yes.
I want to thank you guys for taking this topic seriously enough, because there are
Yes.
some things so many of us have started that are difficult, even in relationships, and
Mm-hmm.
trying new jobs, or even to stretch out on some things that we wanted to try. And to hear this evening that there's some tools you can have. You can let some stuff
Yes.
go. You can be
Yes.
encouraged and inspired by some other people that'll lift you and encourage and inspire you. And then to even hear that we've got to put the effort in. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
um, I think those are some great takeaways for all of us. It's not going to always fall in our lap, and it may not be easy. One of the things that I go back to Hebrews 12 last time, and it says for us to run that race. And the race there is agon in the Greek,
Mm.
and that is where we get our word agony from. And it's literally teaching us that we've got to put forth an effort to finish,
Mm.
even if it may be difficult, even when there are obstacles. Just put forth the effort. And just like you started with us, Marty, I'm so tired of Bishop. He done pulled that book out again. The race is not
Now, let me
given.
tell you what the sermon series is going to be. So when I tell you to come, don't look confused. We're going to talk about being anointed in your agony.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Anointed in your agony. Okay, I can't preach that one. That's a doctor story. I'm just gonna get my water.
Ooh, God knows that's good. Call me when that come on, because I need to see that one. But we've got to put forth an effort. I want everyone to know
Yes.
that is watching now, a part of the mental health with Marty, and a part of the daughter's dialogue, that you can do it. You can make
Yes, you
it.
can.
You can finish well, no
Yes.
matter what the race is, no matter what you've been called to do. You got this
Yes.
thing. You've been uniquely created to finish
Yes.
well. That's my last thought, Marty.
Love it. Daryl, there's nothing else but to kick the ending credits. And we are so glad to join us. And listen, reach out to us for anything. We want to be there to support you in your journey with this. We pray that everyone had an amazing Thanksgiving. And as Bishop has just said, we are declaring victory and
Come
declaring
on.
wellness in December. You have the
Yes.
power. That's what we always say. Do not continue to secretly suffer in silence in the shadow of shame. But as I close each week, we say, speak up, speak out, and live. And always remember to enjoy your life. We'll see you in 2 weeks. God bless.
Enjoy.